Very good evening to you. I am Ryan Broom with a Wednesday, December 20th edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story, there's been a further delay in plans to construct the 15-story Hyatt Hotel on Bay Street. It took Justice Sonia Richards just over 2 hours to hand down the decision upholding the 3 grounds raised against the project by attorney-at-law David Commissiong. Speaking after the hearing, Mr. Commissiong described the ruling as a slam dunk in his favor. He says, in essence, the application that was made by the Prime Minister that he, Commissiong, did not have standing on which to bring the case was dismissed.
The court made a finding that I had standing under the Town and Country Planning Act as a person aggrieved, that I also had standing under the Administrative Justice Act as a person whose interests was adversely affected by the decision to grant permission to build the hotel. And thirdly, most pleasing to me, was that in the public interest that the court would hear the matter. In other words, that there was a sufficient public interest in this, in whether the grant of the building permission was correct or incorrect.
An attorney-at-law, Queen's Counsel Barry Gale, who represents Vision Development Incorporated, the company responsible for building the property, gave this brief statement.
The merits of the case will be determined subsequently at a trial, but what is of significance is that both the Prime Minister, the defendant, and Vision Developments applied for leave to appeal to the Court of Appeal, and it's significant that the judge herself granted leave to appeal to both the Prime Minister as defendant and to Vision Developments, Inc.
And the High Court has ruled in favor of at least 7 of the 20 workers who were retired about 2 years ago from the Barbados Investment and Development Corporation. The judgment was handed down late this afternoon by Madam Justice Jacqueline Cornelius, who heard the matter. The workers, accompanied by their lawyers and some representatives from the National Union of Public Workers, made their way into the Supreme Court just around 3 when the matter was set down to be heard. Once it was over, attorney for the workers, Gregory Nichols, explained the ruling.
This afternoon, Madam Justice Cornelius delivered her judgment, reserved decision in the BIDC case. She ruled that the decision of the board of the BIDC to retire the claimants was unlawful, and she set out a number of various grounds as to why that decision was made. We are awaiting a copy of the decision so we can study it more carefully. But the claimants were successful in their challenge to the decision of the BIDC to involuntarily and compulsorily retire them in 2015.
And Mr. Nichols says the next step is to submit claims for payment for the workers.
We have in 28 days to submit further submissions and filings in the court in relation to what damages that the client suffered. Of course, those damages would be the loss of salary that they suffered over the last 2 years, because they haven't been paid by BDC since December 2015. So basically, the pecuniary losses that they would have suffered would amount to their loss of salary for the last 2 years, and counting plus any interest on the damages that the court may award.
Now, CBC News understands that the BIDC has given an undertaking that it will pay all the applicable pensions and gratuity to the claimants, which would have accumulated up until age 60. The BIDC has also indicated that it will appeal the order, which will determine whether it will pay the pensions and gratuity up to age 67. A source close to the case says the ruling indicated that while the board of the BIDC has the power to compulsorily retire people once they reach age 60, it did not follow those procedures in this instance. The source says the court also found the workers had a legitimate expectation to a certain process and procedure that would have obtained in relation to their retirement. Well, over 600 Barbadians are now full-time employees at Sandals Royal Resort. It's the beginning of a project that's expected to take Barbados' tourism product to another level. Kareem Smith was there as the resort welcomed its first guests.
The Sandals Royal Resort has delivered on its promise to meet the heavy demands of this year's winter tourist season. Today, its doors open to approximately 160 guests, occupying 80 rooms, some of them booked many months in advance. And according to General Manager Ferry Seafinger, the 220 suites will soon be very close to full occupancy.
By tomorrow, another 160, so another 80 rooms. By the time we hit January 12th, this resort will be running 92%. For 2018, we already have on the books an average of 97% occupancy across the year. So that says a lot. Those are very strong numbers that will only grow.
It means more jobs for Barbadians.
We have a full-time 550 team members. We have added 658 team members for this resort. So we are close to 1,100 team members full-time. And of course, you have a lot of team members or persons that work on, depending if we have big, large functions, we have a conference room, it will only increase.
The luxury resort is spread across 14 acres on Maxwell Beach and offers an abundance of amenities from rooftop bars and swimming pools to top-of-the-line restaurants. Also included is the Lover's Lane Bowling Alley. Sales manager Dana Gilbert says patrons at the adjacent Sandals Barbados are also invited to enjoy the amenities at Sandals Royal. And locals are always welcomed. In fact, packages are being designed to meet their needs.
But we are very much open to welcoming locals to stay, to play with us on day passes and evening passes, and also to have events such as conferences, weddings, product launches, cocktail receptions. We do it all.
The general manager also cautioned Barbadians to ensure the country does everything possible to maintain its appeal.
So we have to make sure Barbados stays beautiful, stays clean, stays safe. It's very important. If you go on vacation, what's the first thing you think about? Is it safe, right? How are the people? And the people of Barbados are beautiful. They're friendly, very well mannered, very well educated, and we hear that every single day from our guests.
Mr. Seafinger says plans to expand with an even bigger beaches by Sandals Resort, just north of Spikestown, on the grounds of the former Almond Bay Resort, are underway. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
Thanks, Kareem. Well, we take a pause here, but we have more news, including news about ham prices after the break.
Upgrade to Digicell's Quick Pick Bundles. Save big on data. Get data and get unlimited WhatsApp messaging and Digicel talk. Pick a 1-day bundle, a 7-day bundle, or for the best value, a 30-day bundle. Save money every single day. Pick the bundle that's right for you. Go to My Digicel app or dial *246 # to buy a Quick Pick bundle today. Digicel.
Hi, we're Ram & Co, and we want you to know that all of us play a part in tourism.
I am tourism.
I am tourism.
I am tourism. I am tourism.
Tourism is our business. Let's all play a part. A message from the Barbados Tourism Product Authority.
Moving forward together.
Dance with me into the new year. This Old Year's night, join us at Kensington Oval for Q-Dance. Doors open at 8 p.m. Early bird tickets, $30. General tickets, $35. At the door, $40. DJ King, Scorpion, and many more party favors. Dance with me at Q-Dance this Old Year's night.
You can dance, every dance with the guy who gives you the eye, let him hold you tight.
Come to Shoemax for all your ladies' shoes, dress shoes, gold, silver, red, bronze, casual, work shoes, shoes for nurses, wide wave shoes for maximum value on footwear. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Shoemax Barbados. Come check us out at Dow's House, Palmetto Street, Bridgetown.
Welcome back. Well, head of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, does not believe government should bow to pressure to lower the import duties on agricultural products. During a press conference at his Grotto office, he said the demands would only be detrimental to the future of the agricultural industry and its workers. His comments follow complaints from the franchise holder of a fast food outlet about the high tariffs.
Why is it that this recent entrant cannot survive based on utilizing locally produced poultry? They are given the same terms in terms of purchase of the local product as anybody else. So I really again find it really difficult to understand what are we trying to achieve. The private sector needs to hold hands with each other. Within the agricultural sector need to hold hands with other persons in order to ensure that we can develop the sector.
Now, referring to hotly debated ham prices, Mr. Paul says they are still on par with last year's, and he also dismissed calls for the meat to be imported.
I have myself gone to stores such as Popular, and I have seen that the price of the large pregnant hams are no way inconsistent basically to what they were last year. You have prices ranging from $89 to as low as $70, $69. I have things on my phone, okay? So I think it seems to me as if there is a concerted attempt in this country to basically force government to basically get rid of the current tariff rate structure that they have in place in favor of people who want to import goods into this country.
Now, news, a government senator sees nothing wrong with Barbados not playing host to Women's Cricket World Cup, scheduled for the Caribbean next year. In fact, Senator Verla de Pisa says it might be the best decision, given that Barbados is still digging itself out of the financial hole left after hosting the men's version of the tournament in 2007. She says Barbados simply has to be realistic in its expectations.
Speak to any country that has hosted the Olympics and ask them what the financial benefits have been to them in relation to hosting what are world-class events. We are not disputing that, but are also significant financial drains on economies.
Cultural practitioners in Barbados deserve all the support they can get. That's the view of Senator Carol Lady Haynes as debate in the upper house continued on the Cultural Industry Development Validation Bill. Her support comes against the background of her contention that Barbados has and continues to produce world-class talent.
We have truly managed to produce international musicians, really producing, I don't like to be too over the top, Madam President, but I really need to say world-class entertainment. And this is something that we need to be very proud of, but we need to facilitate these musicians. We need to ensure that with acts such as this and with boards such as these, that we can really ensure that the best of our musicians are constantly, that we are growing, we are improving, and we continue to give them opportunities.
Lady Haynes also wants the support provided by the bill to be easily accessible to those who should benefit from it. Barbadians need look no further than homegrown superstar Rihanna to see the potential of the cultural industries. Senator Andre Worrell made the point as he contributed to the debate on the Cultural Industries Development Validation Bill.
Look at the recognition that we receive alone from the single name Rihanna and her being tied to Barbados. So to the extent that we recently renamed Westbury Road to Rihanna Drive, New Road to Rihanna Drive. So that is in itself is a drawing card, and it is only a drawing card because of her exploits of the cultural industries and the fact that she is tied to Barbados. If we can create more persons like that in Barbados, imagine what it can do for us in terms of developing an industry and developing our young people.
Children in the St. James South constituency are gaining a better understanding of the true meaning of Christmas. This year, they were treated to performances from a number of groups within the constituency, including the Haynesville Youth Group and the West Terrace Primary School, during this year's Caroling on the Green. It's an annual celebration hosted by Parliamentary Representative Donville Innes, but it was the sweet music of the Royal Barbados Police Force Band that put the icing on the cake. During the celebration, Mr. Innes encouraged his constituents to recapture the true meaning of Christmas despite life's challenges.
Some of us who either have no money to spend at Christmas time, like myself, and some who believe that perhaps Christ is not really taken into the Christmas time as it ought to be. And we believe that this lovely spot here on the hill really encapsulates all that we want to have in Christmas. Real wholesome family activities where we focus on our needs and not so much on the wants.
A prison officer at Her Majesty's Prison at Dodds is now out on bail. This after appearing before Chief Magistrate Christopher Birch in the District C Magistrates Court today on a charge of unlawfully supplying an inmate with food. Police say 47-year-old Melvin MacDonald Goodman of Bathsheba St. Joseph and Todd's Land St. George pleaded not guilty to the offense and was granted bail at the sum of $500. Goodman is to reappear in court on February 26th next year. Well, still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region.
Meter deal with StarChick. StarChick is here to make Christmas enjoyable for you and your family with the popular Meter Deal Special. Visit StarChick, Extra Chick, Choices and Extra Choice to take advantage of amazing turkey, chicken and ham combination specials just in time for the Christmas season. These combo specials are flying off the shelf. If you missed this, then blame yourself. The three wise men came from afar, so be wise and follow the star and Meter Deal with StarChick this Christmas season. Can you crack the court's code? Spend $799 or more and you could win $15,000. Check Courts on Facebook and Instagram or your digital phone for your weekly Crack the Court's Code clue. Each week until December 22nd, you could get a chance to crack the same. But to crack the 3-digit code, you must know the clue. So listen out. Plus, the Courts Crack the Code crew may be on the road near you where you could win cash and prizes on the spot. Courts, bringing value home.
This is your lucky day. All you need to do is play 9 times Lucky, the new scratch game from the Barbados Lottery, with 49 chances to win on each ticket. You could win the top prize of $109,000.
This is a serious problem in Trinidad. What is diabetes?
There are 2 forms. Diabetes type 1, when your body stops producing insulin. Type 2 diabetes is a result of poor lifestyle. Type 2 diabetes is associated with being overweight, having high blood pressure, at higher risk for heart disease. It is a very serious problem.
Do not wait until it's too late. Let Omega XL be the first step in the right direction.
Get your Omega XL today. Live long, stay strong with Omega XL.
Across the Caribbean, brought to you by CIBC First Caribbean.
News from the region tonight, the Treasury Department of the Mayor and City Council in Guyana has announced that as of next month, no representative of the municipality will be collecting stall rental payments on behalf of City Hall. Acting Treasurer John Douglas says the council has decided to provide several locations for the rent to be paid.
According to the Mayor and City Council, will not affect the employment of those who are tasked with collecting stall rentals from the various markets within the city. According to Acting Treasurer at City Hall, John Douglas, the Council has decided to place the responsibility of paying stall rentals on stall holders. He explained how the process will work next year.
In need of a better system, Council has reviewed that operation. And come 2018, we would start by having put locations strategically located at certain aspects within Georgetown. So no longer would anyone be coming to you to uplift council's fund, but rather you would have to come in and pay what's due to council.
Those fees can also be paid to City Hall. Douglas further noted that with revenue collection, acts of fraud, and the risk of having revenue collectors walking around with large sums of cash affects accountability, which is important to the council.
We believe that this strategy will allow for better, stronger, and a more prudent accounting system and accountability, so no one will be able to accuse anyone of stealing. So come 2018, we'll start this project and we'll start it market by market, section by section.
The acting treasurer further noted that while the council also recognizes that it may be inconvenient to some, this is the best possible option.
The General Secretary of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association has expressed concern over what he says is a recent trend of short-term contractual employment for the vulnerable in society.
Claude Paul was a career public servant up until his retirement. In addition, he has held several posts within the island's largest public sector trade union. So in other words, Paul has seen it all. The CSA's General Secretary on Tuesday reflected on 2017's industrial relations climate, which he observed was quiet. Nevertheless, moving forward, his wishes for more job security and stability for the vulnerable in society. Paul claims that individuals engaged in programs like NICE and similar initiatives of late are employed under short-term contracts with no real benefits. He says this trend is concerning.
For those workers, it is very little that they can do in terms of their own development. And for example, going to the bank to get a loan, nobody will look at them seriously. Now, some persons who would have worked for 5 or 6 years in successive contracts, you know, under the Labour Act, there should be some sort of prominence given to them, but this is not being taken up. And you know, unfortunately, the Labour Act doesn't bind government for the most part, and therefore that is used, you know, to the disadvantage of those persons in those vulnerable parts of our society.
The International Monetary Fund is predicting economic growth of 1.6% for the Bahamas this year, following a prolonged period of stagnation. An IMF delegation headed by Fabian Valencia, a senior economist in the IMF's Western Hemisphere Department, has ended a one-week visit to the Bahamas, reviewing the latest economic developments and laying the groundwork for the 2018 Article 4 consultation expected to take place in March 2018. He says the economy will also grow 2.5% next year on the back of a stronger United States economy, the phased opening of Baha Mar, and foreign direct investment-related construction activity. Well, sports news is just ahead with Sean Green, but first, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
CIBC First Caribbean.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
When getting out of a vehicle, look around to make sure that you are not being followed. This crime prevention tip is brought to you in association with the Royal Barbados Police Force.